up, everybody? Welcome back to another Dear Critics review. We're looking at quarter one for 2021. And of course, as always, we got a massive quarter. We have two new league members this year, so we got a lot of games to look at. So joining me this quarter is Luke Strain from the league. How you doing, buddy?
Howdy. I'm doing great. How are you doing, Micah?
Oh man, I can't complain. Doing good. I'm excited to talk about these games. We just went through a little bit of a snafu with the site. We'll get into that just in a minute, briefly. But yeah, man, glad to have you here. I remember when I first sent out the call for the Dear Critics. It wasn't called that at the time, but I think it was. I guess it would have been late 2018 or early 2019 when we started that year. I want to say you were the first person in the Reformed Gamers group to respond and say, "Hey, I'm down to do it. Let's get this thing rolling." If memory serves me, so you've been with us with me since day one. Ready to go with this whole thing. So really been a pleasure to have you this whole 3 years now.
Thanks. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. Whenever it came out, my close group of friends, they play video games, but they weren't really interested. So I was just like, crap, man, I'm not gonna have anyone to play with. And so I actually set up a league with a bunch of strangers, like through Reddit or something like that. And that didn't really, I mean, it was fine, like it happened, but we didn't talk at all or anything, so it was kind of lame. So
Yeah,
then whenever you suggested, I was very thankful because I wanted to participate because it seemed like so fun. And then with a group of like-minded Christian brothers and sisters, it's even better. So
yeah.
it's great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, yeah, you've been, one of the core members from the beginning, so glad you're still with us. Okay, so we're gonna look at a bunch of stuff, but first and foremost, we're gonna look at the league standings. So Alex has come out heavy hitter first and foremost with a couple of big games, 41 points for him so far. Eddie Taylor, Crystal Cross Games, coming in second place right now, 33 points. M Powerful Marshall, 30 points, coming in with that It Takes Two here at the last minute. Amanda Boomstick Syndicate coming in at fourth place with 12 points. Actually tied for fourth is Adam, one of the new members here, Bearded Brethren, also 12 and a half points roughly. Nate McKeever beat down games with 7 points, coming in sixth. Myself in seventh with 7 points, 7.2. And Luke, you're in eighth with what the site says, a minus 0.52. I'm not sure where these decimals come in, but basically negative 1 point there. And then Jeff bringing up the rear with a minus 15 after Balan Wonderworld just came out recently and didn't hit.
Yeah, that was rough. And then, yeah, we'll talk about it more later. But Story of Seasons really, yeah. I mean, I'll talk about it more later, I guess. But Story of Season was a big disappointment for me.
For sure. Yeah, we'll look at all that. So really, I guess real quick before we do anything else, let me just run down all the games that we've had released so far this quarter. Hitman 3, Incaudia, Cyber Shadow, The Medium, Ease 9, Monstrum Nox, Habroxia 2, Little Nightmares 2, Persona 5, Strikers, Bravely Default 2, Stronghold, Warlords, Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, Dandy Ace, Monster Hunter, Rise, It Takes Two, Balan Wonderworld, and Evil Genius 2. All right, Luke, that is all the games for this quarter. As you alluded to just a moment ago, Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town. I remember Amanda had the Story of Seasons game last year. You decided to pick it up this year. Just ho hum, huh?
Yeah, truth be told, all of my other games are late if releases if they're going to release at all. And I really wanted to get points on the board, honestly. And obviously, it did not work out at all because I lost points from the board down to the negative. So I read an early preview that said they took some stuff from Stardew Valley, which is a game that I love. And I know that this is really the Harvest Moon team that did it, and Harvest Moon is a classic. So I thought it was going to come through, and I should have known better because as it got closer to release date, more previews came out that had some like middling stuff to say about it. And you got to know that if a preview is like middling, it's really not good, because generally previews are positive. So I should have dropped it, but I didn't. And now here we are, -1.
Yeah, I mean, there's no really shame in that. I mean, other than maybe just a little bit of lost pride, you can kind of, as long as the reviews haven't actually started out, you can still drop that game if you have a droppable game to drop. if you're feeling kind of about it as it approaches the release date, I've actually got one game in mind on my roster, Season, which I'm thinking it's going to release this year. I'm thinking I might drop because there's been some controversy with the lead developer at that studio, which just won't help reviews, I don't think. So I might end up dropping that game. Um, but I'm going to kind of like wait and see as it gets closer to
Mm-hmm.
see kind of what the previews are looking like, kind of like you said. Um, so yeah, just not a whole lot to talk about for yourself, unfortunately. Have you on the show, but just one game for this quarter, unfortunately. But anyway, I tell you what, let's just sort of go down the list. We'll start with the person who had the most games released this quarter, and that's Eddie Crystal Cross Games. So he had Hitman 3 was his big one. He got an 86 points Open Critic score. He had the Medium, got him a 75. Ease 9 got him a solid 82, and then Stronghold Warlords only a 71 there. So when you look at Eddie's lineup, what do you think there?
Well, I think Eddie has it's definitely a good early start, but we'll see if it can really, carry forward. Hitman 3 was a good get. That was high on my rankings to draft. I've been playing that. That's a great game. And honestly, I think Deathloop is going to be really strong. If it comes out this year, that developer, I think that's Machine Games, I think, and they make great games. So um, if Deathloop comes out, I think that's going to be a big win for him. So I think his team's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, Deathloop looks like it's going to be good. I think it'll probably hit this year as well. So yeah, Hitman 3 was one of those kind of games that as it got closer and closer to release, you could just see, man, it was gonna hit. There's just been not Hitman fever. You could just I feel like a lot of people are just it's on everyone's lips. Everyone's kind of just playing. It's like, man, Hitman's really, really good.
It is really,
Um,
really good.
so yeah, I've personally not gotten into those games, but I'm kind of wanting to maybe with Hitman 3. Have you ever played any of them? Any of the recent ones?
Yes, I played the whole trilogy. So actually, I got Hitman and Hitman 2 on PlayStation 4, and I played it. It was great. And then, I got the Xbox Series X. So when the new one came out, I bought it for the Xbox. So I didn't carry it over my progress, which is kind of disappointing because you can
Oh,
you can like carry over all the weapons you unlocked and stuff. But
mhm.
honestly, it's all right. It's kind of fun figuring stuff out with minimal materials. So,
Yeah.
um, so I got it, and then the Hitman 2 Deluxe Edition was on sale on Xbox, and so I got that, and so now I actually have the entire trilogy, and it's cool because it's all in one game. So I load up Hitman 3, and I can play any levels from Hitman 1 or 2 or 3, and it's pretty sweet. So I'm a
Super
big
good.
fan. Yeah,
I'm gonna probably play Hitman 3 at some point. I don't know when, but yeah, would it be an okay place for me to start if I hadn't played 1 and 2?
yeah, you'd be fine. I mean, like the so everyone says that the Hitman 3 actually is just where the story gets really good. I haven't finished it, and the there had been some surprising stuff, but honestly, I barely remember anything. Like I mean,
Sure.
I get summarize Hitman. All you need to know Hitman 1 in one sentence. I'm not going to spoilers or whatever, but I can tell you one sentence Hitman 1, one sentence Hitman 2, and then that's good. You're off. You're
Right.
off to the races.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to the next team, Boomstick Syndicate. Amanda has had 3 games released this quarter. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Encadia? Is that correct?
That sounds right to me. I was impressed with your pronunciation when you were reading those games.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's in Kodia or in Kodia. Either way, a 61 for Amanda. So that may have been her first game that released. I can't remember in the quarter. So not a great start there. But then Cyber Shadow, one of the bright spots of this quarter, with an 82. And then right here, I think one of the final games to come out this quarter and get reviewed, Dandy Ace, got a solid Dandy 80.
Mhm.
Amanda is right there in the thick of it, sitting at tied for fourth. Just as good a shot as anybody. So how you feeling about Amanda's team?
I, I really don't know much about our team. The only game that I'm really familiar with that she has that's not released is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Parasite, which
Hmm.
we'll see how that reviews. I think the top, like Ubisoft Tom Clancy games, I don't think they review super well, even though they're beloved by their fans. The rest of her games, honestly, I have no clue what they are. So I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah,
I will say that she has
cores.
a good counter picking and will not release is always a good move. And so
Yeah.
the counter pick Diablo 4, that was good, I think.
True, true. Yeah, she has Chorus as her second round pick. That's one of those Xbox exclusive. It was in one of their early showcases for Xbox Series X. It's like a sci-fi. It's in the opening bumper for this video. It's going to be.
Oh, okay.
So watch it. It's like a sci-fi game. But
Well,
anyway,
I
it
will
looks
check it
good.
out. I'll check
Yeah,
it out.
it looks good for sure. Okay, so moving on to Alex's newly named Jersey Recon Studios, and he's got two releases this quarter. And I need to find them. Here we go. Monster Hunter Rise with the 87, the second biggest game of the quarter. If it weren't for It Takes Two, and then Evil Genius 2. I think sort of a later pickup for Alex, but netting him a 79. So good stuff there for Alex. So only two games, two good scores though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a good scores, and you can't forget the 15 points from a counter pick. That's probably the most points anybody get from a counter pick this year. I mean, Pokemon Snap's going to be bad. Let's not forget that. But I doubt it'll be. I doubt it's going to review that bad. So that's a big boost.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I completely forgot, actually. I'm looking at two different docs. Yeah, Balan Wonderworld was counterpicked by Alex, and of course that is yeah, it's currently sitting at a 51 for 15 points, fantasy critic points. So yeah, absolutely huge for Alex there. um Anything else about Alex's roster that that you think he's got going on for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll talk about it more later. But Resident Evil Village is going to be. I think that's a great pick. The last Resident Evil reviewed
Hmm.
super well, and so Village is. I think that's going to do really well for him.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. Okay, moving on. Marshall, M Powerful. Only two games, but kind of like Alex, two solid releases here. Little Nightmares 2, 83, and then the hit of the quarter, kind of the game that has everyone talking here recently in the past week or so. It Takes Two from Hazelight Studio. It's crazy Joseph Ferris's new game. He loves the co-op games.
Yes.
I'm currently playing this one. This is one of the only games of the entire quarter I have played, I believe, maybe the only game. Currently playing it right now, and it's an absolute blast. I can back up the 88. It is so stinking fun, and it's constantly fresh and surprising you with different gameplay mechanics and things. And just it's laugh out loud funny. It's a really solid game. So Marshall, maybe feel like something to prove after last year, coming out strong, SAR, really part of this quarter.
Yeah, I think Marshall has a really good lineup. It Takes Two. I'm really excited to read your review. I think I'm gonna read it before I check it out. I mean, I understand it's about a couple getting divorced, and so honestly, I really want to know what. I'm really curious how they're gonna handle it, how they're gonna handle that specifically. And I think if after reading reviews, I think I like it seems like it's gonna have a good message. Then I definitely plan on trying to get my wife to play with me.
Yeah. So far, so good. A little cursy, which I'm not a fan of, but other than that, it's a really really good game. But yeah, so moving on here to the let's see, we got five games here, including you and I, that only have one game this quarter. So we'll just kind of go down the list here, and we'll kind of handle all these as like a group since they're all just one game each. So for myself, Habroxia 2 got a 77. That's Colin Moriarty's new gig over there at Lily Mo Games. Luke, you have, like we just said, A Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Alltown, 69. Jeff had the unfortunate Balan Wonderworld, like we just mentioned. Nate over at Beatdown Games, his number one overall draft pick, Bravely Default 2, getting him a 78. Was hoping a little bit better for his
Yeah.
number one draft pick. And then Adam, Bearded Brethren, Persona 5 Strikers, 83, super solid there. I don't think you can
Hmm.
really complain about that. So out of that list of five games I just mentioned, any particular ones that kind of draw your attention?
Yeah, I'll talk about Bravely Default too. I mean, I think this one was really tricky. I picked it up last year with late, and it's tricky because their last game was also a 2D like. I mean, it was also inspired by classic RPGs. Octopath Traveler, which just came to Game Pass. I'm playing on my phone some,
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. But Octopath Traveler was a hit, and so I can see why Bravely Default 2 we would think it would be too.
right.
But it didn't work out. It was a big surprise to me too. So that's really disappointing, especially for a first round pick.
Yeah, looking at Nate's roster, he's got a solid lineup so far, I think. But just a little unfortunate for that first rounder getting not getting it over an 80. You kind of would hope that, but he's definitely got time to kind of claw back. Also got 4 roster spots he can pick up. And he has been boasting. I don't know if you listened to the backlog breakdown with Nate, but he has been talking up his Halo Infinite counter pick here lately, thinking
Oh,
that game
really?
is gonna bomb or get like delayed out of 2021. That's one of my games. I think Halo has to be good. I think it
Oh,
must be good.
I got opinions about that. We'll
So
see.
yeah, we'll get there. So anyway, Nate has been boasting his Halo Infinite counter pick, so we'll see how that goes, buddy. Um, okay, so let's see here. We went through everyone's games. Okay, let's do this. Just overall, any games that surprised you, or a game maybe you missed out on that you wanted to draft that really hit, anything like that kind of just kind of took you by surprise this quarter.
So none of the games that released were ones that I was really pining after, except maybe Hitman 3. In my draft order, Hitman 3 was next. But obviously it was picked second. So like what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. Persona 5 Strikers I was kind of iffy on, and so Adam got that from me. He was better. Like that was a good move. Obviously, 83, a score of 83 is good. And then, like I said, kind of disappointed. I was surprised in a negative way by Bravely Default 2. And then it's not one that I wasn't gonna pick this up, but I played Habroxia 2, and that game was really fun. So
Okay.
that also released. Yeah, I'm like, there's like 3 reviews on the Xbox store because I think Colin's fans are a little more PlayStation side. Not surprising,
Yeah, that's
but
that's
I did
one
play it on Xbox and it was fun.
that's one reason why I picked it up. I was like, I think Colin is going to try to control reviews a little bit and like get it out to certain outlets. So they might be more glowing. So 77 is okay, I guess, for what that is.
Yeah,
Um, okay, here. So we've looked at everyone's games. We've gone down the rankings. Luke, I understand you have your own power rankings here at
I
the end of quarter
do.
one that you want to sort of look at here. So let's go ahead and dive into Luke's power rankings.
All right, here we go. This is Luke's power rankings for Dear Critic. First quarter. Coming in at a sad number 9 is Wolfpack Initiative. Not really a surprise here. In addition to the bad Balin Wonderland pick, which cost him a lot of points, he has Ghostwire Tokyo counterpicked, which is like big foolish move on my part. I think that game looks really, really good. I picked it, obviously. So, and then 2 do not releases. It's going to be really hard to overcome that, especially, I mean, Balin Wonderland is bad enough, and then 2 do not releases. It's going to be tough. I think there's a lot of solid releases on the lineup, but ultimately, I think it's just too big of a hill to overcome at this point. You know.
For sure.
All right, next I got me at 8. Sadly, the thing is, I believe it or not, I'm not actually that like down on my releases. It's just there's a lot of unknowns here.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of there's a lot of unknowns. Like I said, um, for example, like we don't know if Tunic is going to release. We don't know if God of War Ragnarok is going to release. Probably not. And then Forza Horizon 5 hasn't even been announced yet.
Yeah.
But I picked it. I'm pretty certain that's coming. I'm pretty sure that's coming out, but
Probably
hasn't been
so.
announced. So I think that's 3 unknowns. I'm still pretty confident in my lineup. I think Ruined King is going to be a sleeper hit. Riot knows what they're doing. Last year they released 2 great games in Valorant and the card game. And man, I played it a lot. You think I remember? But an online trading card game for the phone. And so I think Ruined King's going to be great. And then Sports Stories, that's going to be another sleeper hit, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not actually that down on my team, but too many unknowns. So I'm sitting at number 8. Next, we got let's see, wait, number 7, Beatdown Games. So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but counterpicking Halo Infinite, maybe we'll argue about it, but I think that's a big mistake. I've been following the 343 updates that they give every month, and kind of like the more they explain the reasoning behind it, the more I'm like, yes, you should have done this 2 games ago, but you didn't. At least you got this point, and that's okay. They got great audio mix coming. That was what the last update was about. just the more I hear about the game, the more I think they're finally taking it in the right direction. So I'm very excited for Halo Infinite, and I honestly think it's going to really bring you down. You do have a lot of solid releases though. Nier, I think, is a great one. I guess I should have brought that up. That's one that I was gonna pick, but he outbid me. So that was a really good one. And then Shin Megami Tensei, that's gonna be another good game, I think. So
He
but
picked up
ultimately,
Shin Megami Tensei late, or did he draft it?
I think Shin Megami he picked it up. He got it for free. That's what you talked
Yeah.
about, right?
Yeah, I want to say that's true, man.
But did he draft? Maybe he drafted Nier. Either way, either he drafted or picked it up. I was hoping to get it. I think it was, but then he got it, and he got it in front of me. So I think that's a good pick. But again, Halo Infinite's gonna take it down. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think like I said, Halo's got to be good. So yeah, I think he's gonna have some negative points there. I think it's definitely gonna come out this year. Actually, I just even just saying that, I kind of like my side hurt just a little bit. Like,
Yeah, you never say definitely.
yeah,
Honestly.
not this year. It will probably come out this year, and when it does come out, if this year, it's going to be good, I think. So yeah, I think that's gonna be negative points for Nate. But yeah, he did draft Nier, and Shin Megami was a pickup. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I think Nier was up there on my list, but happy for him. He's gonna need it. Next, number 6, Boomstick Syndicate. Like I said earlier, honestly, I have no clue what most of your games are. I guess there's some Xbox exclusive, which me as an Xbot, you'd think that I would be aware of, but I'm not. So, but you got the minus points, and honestly, every minus point is tough to overcome. So I got you at 6, but really, who knows? Maybe you're all gonna knock it out of the park, and I'm just ignorant. You never really know, or I don't at least. All right, next we got number 5, Bearded Brethren. So I'm giving Adam a lot of heat for his Pokemon Snap counter pick, which I stand by with a caveat. But he has Horizon Zero Dawn, and I think that's probably coming out this year, and it's probably going to be a lot of points. I'm sure that they're going to use the haptic feedback in the PS5, and probably I bet it's going to be one of the first games that uses it really well, other than Astro's Playroom. So I think that's going to be a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of credibility for that, and I think that's going to be a big game. For Pokemon Snap, I think the mechanics are going to be bad. What could elevate it is the sharing functionality. If Nintendo gets the photo sharing right, then I think it's going to be bad for me as a counter pick, because that's the only thing that's what can carry this game. Like, I'm probably going to play it because I love Pokemon, and I like Pokemon Snap, but I think the mechanics are going to be a little too outdated. And then Diamond and Pearl, I think, as much as I love those games, the remake doesn't look like it's doing enough to review well, and so I think it's going to be a disappointment.
Okay. All right.
Let's go to the next. Next, we got Crystal Cross Games. So there we go. All right. So a lot of releases are already out. Good early start. And then Deathloop, like I talked about earlier, I think Deathloop's going to be a big game. Machine Games review. That's Machine Games, right? Or no.
It's not Machine Games. Arcane. Arcane Studios.
That's who I was thinking. I just said the wrong. Arcane, who makes Dishonored and Dishonored 2.
Yes.
They make great games. Those games review well. They may not sell the best, but they review super well. So I think Deathloop is going to be a big win. But I think what's going to hold them back from really being next level is the Tunic counterpick. If Tunic comes out, man, I think it's going to be that's going to be bad, because Tunic is indie and it looks amazing. And so indie games, I think reviews can be like a little bit lighter for. Just honestly, nothing's wrong with that, I think, because you should manage expectations according to the team and stuff. But so I think Tunic's going to be a big hit. If it comes out, then that's going to be a big detriment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, let's go next. We got Doug Best Digital. All right, so that's you, Micah. I don't know if I said your team name right, but that's how we go.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, my phone just locked, so I lost my notes. Give me 1 second. All right.
You're fine.
So Hollow Knight, man, Hollow Knight is a big one. I should have done Hollow Knight instead of God of War, because Hollow Knight Silk Song is going to review well. The first game was great. They've worked on it a lot. I mean, they've been working on it for a while, and so I imagine that's going to be another huge hit. And then Halo Infinite, I've already talked about how I think that's going to be a great game. So those are 2 huge wins for you. Then you got Kenna and Sable, which I think those 2 games could also be good. They'll probably be like 80, 86, I think, which is great. But honestly, the reason I don't have you ranked higher is because of the Back for Blood counter pick.
Yeah.
I think people are probably down on it because of the failure of Evolve. But I think Left 4 Dead is a very different game than Evolve because it's not asymmetric. Which the problem with Evolve was, there was lots of matchmaking issues because nobody wanted to play the monster. People only wanted to play the monster. But that's not going to be the case with with Back 4 Blood, I imagine, because it's more symmetric, right? It's more like a Counter Strike where you play as the humans and you play as the zombies. So I think Back 4 Blood is going to be a great game, and I think that's going to hurt you a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. The reason I picked it as a counter pick is just the footage when like I love Left 4 Dead. I love the genre, and I think it can hit. Just the footage I saw of the game itself, I remember thinking like, oh, this looks like it needs a little cleaning up, and maybe they'll do that. But I just remember thinking like, a little rough around the edges, and that's kind of when you're looking at the counter picks and you're on the clock, and it's like all these are good. You don't really want to pick any of them, kind of thing. No. Usually.
This year especially. This year, I think we have a lot of good picks.
Yeah, it's kind of the lesser of however many evils, but yeah, we'll see. I don't know about Back 4 Blood. It's kind of a coin toss, but yeah, we'll see.
All right, next I got the Jersey Recon Studios. All right, so obviously the counter pick of Balan Wonderland. That's a big boost, probably more than anyone was expecting. And then Resident Evil Village, I think that's going to be another huge hit. I think the last game that really surprised us with a good score was Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
With like a 93, I think, and I think this one could be up there. Resident Evil 7 reviewed really well. I think they learned a lot from that and a lot from the 2 and 3 remakes, and so I really think Resident Evil Village is going to be a big hit.
Yeah, agreed. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, and yeah, this seems to have the sauce. Like it's mixing things from Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 4, which are 4 is one of the most beloved Resident Evil games in existence. So I think it's just gonna. It should hit well as long as it's quality and there's not some weird kind of buggy situation. I think it should review really really good. Kind of, I would expect an 84 or above from Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, I think that's a prediction. I think it could go higher, but so we'll see. All right, finally, you might think there's a little bit of brother bias here, but I really think in Powerful, Marshall he's got a great team. So first, he got the It Takes Two. This was a good surprise. I don't think anyone saw that game through as well as it did. And then we talked about it in the messaging group, but man, if Elden Ring, From Software makes good games, right? And it's been a long time since their last game release. Sekiro, that's one of my favorite games. I love it. I have it on the Xbox, and that's a great game. So I already talked about Back 4 Blood 2. I think that game's going to be a big hit. And so Marshall's already got some good points. I think if Elden Ring releases, then I think Marshall's going to be really tough to beat. The only thing that I'm not sure about is the Garden Story counter pick. Like I said, I don't really know much about Amanda's game, so I don't know much about Garden Story. So that could be a sleeper. That could be what I wanted Sword of Seasons to be, which would really take Marshall back.
Well, I think awesome pick by Marshall. I think he's very primed to take the top spot. So I love the pick. The thing that's got me most interested about his lineup though is Biomutant is gonna finally come out.
Yeah.
And so after all these years, we're gonna get to see how Biomutant is. And man, if it like gets them anything like over an 80, that's just gonna be like super awesome. Just like how much it helped, in the end, kind of thing. But yeah, super excited to see how Biomutant and Tunic. Isn't Tunic a 3-year running?
Yeah, I picked Tunic I picked Tunic the first 2 years, and I picked it again. And I'll pick it next year. It doesn't come out, whatever.
Both of those games, super eager to see how they come out. So okay, that's pretty much it for the first quarter. Luke, any games in the second quarter or beyond? I know we sort of touched on some of them maybe here already, but any games upcoming that you're looking forward to, just personally to play, or you're kind of curious how it's going to perform in the league?
Yeah, I think I talked about most of the games I'm looking forward to, so I'll hit on 2 that I haven't talked about yet, which is first the Diablo 2 remake. Man, I think Marshall could tell you we played Diablo 2 a ton. Like my dad had lots of computers set up, so we would just get on and play with each other. We would LAN party, and so I'm really looking forward to it. Marshall and I will definitely be playing it together. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get it on Switch, so that's gonna be great. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And then another one, Sports Story. I think Golf Story is a great game. If it's on the Switch, it's probably $10. So if you want to play like a fun RPG, Golf Story is it. It's funny. It's got like playing like it has really good golf mechanics, and it progresses really well. So like you get better as so there's never it never gets too difficult. And I think Sports Story is just a continuation of that. Um, it's going to have the same humor probably. It's the same writing team, and this team they made Golf Story in 1 year, and since it's come out, it's been I think 3 years. Sports Story is going to come out. So if they can make a game that I love so much in 1 year, then I'm sure that I think Sports Story is going to be a big hit. Well, I don't know if it'll be a big hit, but I'm going to love it. I think it's going to review well.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games that you don't really think about in a draft unless you're a fan of like Golf Story, you know, and those sorts of things. So that's a sneaky pick, I feel like. So yeah, Sports Story looks great. Anything else you're looking forward to?
Yeah, Halo Infinite. I'm definitely gonna play that. You know, I'm probably reserve a weekend where just get some people to play co-op with me.
100%.
But those are the biggest ones for me.
Yeah, yeah. Outside of the ones you've already mentioned, you know, Resident Evil 8 for me. Looking forward to see. I think Nate has Returnal. I'm gonna pick up that game for PS5 and probably even review it for the site. And curious to see how it performs for Nate's team. So Returnal from Housemarque. They make some solid video games. So curious to see how they do with this bigger budget title. Okay, Luke, I think we've about chopped it up, man. Thank you so much for hopping on the mic, hopping on the camera, and talking about the first quarter of the league with me, man.
Absolutely, it was a lot of fun. I hope I didn't step on too many toes with my power rankings. You know, it's all in good fun. So, and honestly, I think we picked a lot of great games this year, and really, I just enjoying the community as the games come out and talking about them. So. It's been great to be here. I appreciate you inviting me, and it's been a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing how the rest of the year plays out.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, you have a good second quarter, and good luck everyone out there on the waiver wire. And we'll talk to you next time. See ya.
Adios.